Well, certainly there's a special bond between President Trump and Prime Minister Modi. India has had a special relationship with Russia going back to the war with Pakistan, but it has grown closer to the United States under President Trump. I would say New Delhi and Washington will be closer if Donald Trump is in the latter.
What do you make of the speech today?
Very uplifting, and while there were traces of the old Trump, he did not name Joe Biden by name. He did not attack opponents. He spoke of liberal Democrats who undid his policy and how he would restore America in terms of energy, the economy, and secure borders. That is the theme of Trumpism in 2024. Obviously, his opening remarks and recounting the near tragic events of last Saturday moved the audience in the arena and I'm sure around the country. Overall, it was a hit for Donald Trump.
If we talk about his perspective about China, he did mention the China a couple of times during his speech. What do you take from that?
Well, I take it is a reassurance to Taiwan as well as a warning to China. In addition, you'll note that he mentioned the Philippines and Japan and South Korea and the Pacific in general. This is a president who's going to stand by allies who increasingly feel threatened by China. President Marcos of the Philippines has drawn the line in the sand with China, and Manila may be the site of the first strike. We don't know that, but President Trump is saying he's ready.
Under the Biden administration, we did see a state visit by the Indian Prime Minister. How do you gauge, the Republican Party's foreign policy towards India going forward?
Well, certainly there's a special bond between President Trump and Prime Minister Modi. In his book, The Strongman, Gideon Rachman makes comparisons between the two stylistically and their reliance on the free market economy. Certainly, India has had a special relationship with Russia going back to the war with Pakistan, but it has grown closer to the United States under President Trump. I would say New Delhi and Washington will be closer if Donald Trump is in the latter.
How could this whole thing play out, if we see the Trump administration take over? You have Putin on one side, you have Trump on one side, and you have Prime Minister Modi. How do you think this is going to play out?
Well, I think it can play out well. Remember, given his relationship with Prime Minister Modi, any kind of problems that the United States is having with Russia, and there are many, could be soothed through a back-channel democracy in which the meeting point is New Delhi. Recently, Prime Minister Modi welcomed President Putin in a state visit to New Delhi, and there is no questioning the fact the two are close, as just about every prime minister has been with the man in the Kremlin. This will continue, and it may work to Donald Trump's advantage.
All right. Thank you so much for talking to you, and I really appreciate it.
My pleasure always. And I think it will also be interesting to see for the first time, assuming the Republicans are elected, a second lady who is of Indian heritage and obviously quite an impressive person. I have a funny feeling you'll be hearing more about her if J.D. Vance is the vice president.
And going forward, do you see her also being the first lady, the next cycle of elections?
My goodness, there's an old saying, never make predictions, especially about the future. I could not guess that the Congress Party would have come back with such resurgence in the last election in India, and the thought of a fourth-generation Nehru-Gandhi prime minister was very real. So how could I expect who would be president in 4 years? Please, let me get through this election.